this summer, you don't want to listen to terrestrial radio, or you don't want to, you go through the town line, you got to find some different stations, just download a bunch of podcasts. There's a huge growing podcast scene here, and we've been on the cusp of that.
And I got to say, one of the best things about our podcast, about all of our websites, is the fact that you don't need an app.
Right.
To listen to our podcast on your tablet, on your mobile device. You can point your browser right to rifreeradio.org. The music starts playing right away. You don't have to download anything. It's just right there for you. Everybody's got a million different apps on their phone, and the last thing you want to do is actually have to download another to listen to your favorite podcast or to discover new podcasts. It's right out there for everybody to hear.
Which is intentional, by the way, because we want, I think the latest number I saw was only 20% of people use streaming media at this point. And we kind of want to be a place where if you're new to streaming media, you're new to podcasts, you're new to the content, you can kind of get right on RI Free Radio or coalitionradio.us and kind of get the content immediately and start listening and kind of get into what we're doing,
Well, so. I mean, can we all agree on one thing? And we agree on a lot of things, but one thing is sure: terrestrial radio sucks. All right, and on every single level,
except for Saturday nights at 6 on WPRO 6:30 a.m. and 99.7.
That's when
FM.
You can get a psychic reading from Myrtle Lamb, right?
Right. No. It would be extraordinarily psychic at this point. All right, but. Terrestrial radio just is terrible. The same tired crap, the same tired music. Listen, you go to the Tony Jones show and download some of that, you're going to see rockabilly, psychobilly, death metal, punk, all the stuff you're dying to hear. There's a wonderful world of music out there that corporate radio is just never going to let you be a part of because they haven't figured out a way, as Vincent A. Buddy Cianci puts it, make any scuttle off it. So, you've got that. Now, Dave, I mean, on the Coalition, do we have the normal run-of-the-mill guests? And if we have someone who's famous, do we treat them the same way that regular talk radio does?
No, we come at politics and issues from outside of the political mainstream. As a member of the Green Party myself, and Pat as a libertarian, we're kind of on the outside looking in as far as politics goes. I had the pleasure to be on Tony's show a couple of weeks back down in broadcasting out of the lovely downtown West Warwick.
And where else could we go from a conversation about Skefonomics to local punk rock?
Well, one of the best things I love about Tony's show is just the focus on local music here in Rhode Island, music with local connections. You can't get this stuff in the national music scene. It's just not out there. There's so many great local bands, and Tony takes it upon himself to feature those bands. These are young kids, up-and-coming musicians who have the potential to be the next big thing. So you can hear them on RI Free Radio before they are the next big thing.
And by the way, Dave and I are both recovering musicians. So
Wait a minute. I want you to know that I was a trombone player both in high school and college band.
Was that a rusty trombone?
Both. Only slightly. All right? I was in the band, too. Okay?
Well, I got to say, and it's just something that you guys just brought up, why does the type of music you listen to have to do with anything with your views on politics or even just wanting to be informed on the politics?
Well, I think your adventurousness in politics, if you will, also transcends nicely into your music. We're probably the only radio show on AM radio whose theme song is either Public Enemy or a certain punk group called Anti-Flag. Fair statement?
Yeah, there are other guys out there walking down the sunny side of the street every afternoon.
Blowing smoke up the sunny side of something.
Which, hey, it's a fine enough song. It's a nice version of the song. My taste certainly, I would qualify them as eclectic. On any given day, I'd be listening to jazz or Americana or punk rock. I loved that like late 80s, early 90s hip-hop. That was kind of when I came of age. Bands like the Cro-Mags, the Dead Kennedys, this big straight edge movement, the 7 Seconds. I love that kind of punk.
Yeah, I think political punk, is always going to have its place, and it's been interesting to see kind of, the talk and rock format coming of age, and we're seeing that a little bit with the Coalition, and you guys talking to bands like Anti-Flag, and kind of you're not going to hear that, what we in the biz call buffer music from anybody else. I had the opportunity to interview Michael Graves every once in a while when he has new projects, ex-singer of the Misfits, and he also leans kind of political punk, and it's kind of great to see that scene growing with technology just continuing to flourish. And like I said, Rhode Island has become a growing podcast scene, and I think we're going to see people continuing to turn towards media like this. And, I kind of joked earlier that if I spilled my coffee, all of my worldly possessions are on this table right now. But it's a really streamlined process. I got everything down here. We were set up and we were ready to go. And we're going to be with you tonight until 4 o'clock.
We are radio in a glass. Break glass, instant radio. Pull lever.
Just add water.
Just add water and stir. Or tequila. Or a fine
Just add
bourbon.
Gansett.
Not here. It's $6.
Exactly. But Dave came up with a genius way to encapsulate the attitude of the coalition, RI Free Radio, the Tony Jones Show. We call it civilly disobedient radio. Not only do we monitor civil disobedience, we facilitate it, we encourage it, we want to be part of it. Just a few weeks ago during the Black Lives Matter protest, we weren't sitting there on the sidelines afar, safe next to our little Econoline vans or our black Suburbans.
Says free candy on the side.
All right. We were actually in Dave Fisher was covering it from within the protest. Now, we've got youth groups from the city appearing live on our show to actually discuss the day-to-day impact of anything from stop and frisk, or what do we call them now, the jump out boys, on their day-to-day life and how they feel about growing up in a city where they are presumed guilty until, in one stretch or another, found innocent, if ever at all.
And not only are Dave and I recovering musicians, but we're also both recovering candidates. So we've been on both sides of the microphone, as it were.
Well, and I've kind of figured out over the past, almost 2 years now since I unsuccessfully ran for mayor of Woonsocket. I'm better off on the other side of the campaign because my predilection to not suffer fools gladly.
Not troll, as
doesn't work out too well from the candidate's perspective.
Well, there is the other issue. Restraining orders are a lot easier to observe if you don't have to work 10 feet away from the person.
That's right.
Yeah, if you happen to be running a website that's Recall Lisa Baldelli, and you actually work in the office next to her, that can be problematical in terms of the workplace culture.
It makes it a little bit. There's a little friction there,
or while getting
like
while getting your news content from GoLoco.
Go Loco, LOCOPROV, GoLoco.prov.com.
Yeah, by the way, if
all
you
your news.
Go to GoLocoProv.com. You might be surprised what you find.
you will probably be very surprised if you.
Because amongst other things, we are a serial website domain. There's a couple.
So if you're out there thinking about starting a business or running a political campaign, folks, buy up every domain name you could possibly think of that could be associated with you and your business, and we will exploit that to your non-benefit.
Which I mentioned on your program in the past. Doing my Google Analytics during the campaign season, I clicked on to see what people were Googling to find information about my campaign. And there was folks Googling Tony Jones, R.I. naked. That does not give me a warm and fuzzy feeling.
But it just goes to show, what a different candidate you were. You were definitely outside the political. I don't think anybody was searching for Peter Kilmartin naked. Dan McKee naked.
Cool.
Wait a minute, are you talking about my Mayor McCheese?
Your former Mayor McCheese.
Yeah. Former Mayor McCheese. And our Attorney General, the Hamburglar?
Well, the Hamburglar has been lightened up, I think, by the folks at McDonald's.
All right, so he's the... He is the soy Hamburglar, then. By the way, the joys of live radio. We're making hand signals to each other across the 7-foot table we're here at the entrance as we sit here in the Halfway Tree Cafe broadcast studio live at the Rhode Island Convention Center here for CannaCon 2015, which, if you're listening to this today and based on the sheer volume, the size of the outsized personalities sitting at this table, you decide you need to come to. You have a chance. You have plenty of time this afternoon to come, and they'll be here tomorrow as well.
And I do a lot of cons. We do the Toy and Comic Show. We do the convention, the Comic-Con coming up here. And I got to say, this is a lot of happy faces here today. Sometimes folks, after walking around a convention all day, they get a little ornery, but there's a lot of happy folks here today. Everybody's having a good time, having a blast, and everybody was able to find good parking, I hear. So,
and there's certainly not the same potential for violence that you have at the Rhode Island Beer Fest.
Unless we come down to the last brownie.
It seems like the out-of-control frat boy element has been eliminated here.
So are you guys going to roll down to your first guest now, or do you want to hear some music first?
Do we want to roll? Let's just get right into it. Melissa's here with us. We have Melissa Bouchard. I got that correct, right? And she is from the Thomas C. Slater Compassion Center. And she is going to tell us a bit about what they do at the Compassion Center, why they do it, and how they do it. Welcome to the Coalition. Welcome to RI Free Radio, Melissa.
Thank you for being here and for having me. So at the Thomas Slater Compassion Center, we are the first state-licensed medical marijuana center in the state of Rhode Island.
First and only at this point,
There's
right?
actually 3 centers in the state, 3 licensed compassion centers. We were the first to open. We provide a safe environment for our patients to access medicine in a dignified environment. We have a combination of cannabis that's cultivated in-house, as well as we work with Rhode Island caregivers to provide quality medicine to our patients. We offer a lot of wraparound services to our patients that some folks don't know about. So we have a whole sort of journey to wellness. We offer free massages, Reiki treatments. We have a water hydrotherapy bed. We do cooking with cannabis classes, methods of consumption classes, cultivation classes. These are offered all free to our patients and their caregivers. We do one-on-one consultations. We have a loyalty rewards program. It kind of goes on and on and on. We offer a newsletter to our patients monthly that we try to help them stay informed and educated and show them how we stay rooted in the community. And we have a library as well, so folks can check out DVDs and books related to cannabis medicine for free as well.
So it's not just about cannabis. It's more of a kind of a holistic approach to people treating chronic diseases.
Absolutely. It's a holistic and alternative journey to wellness, for sure.
Are you seeing a large influx of veterans come through for cannabis?
We have a whole host of patients that are veterans. Some of them have experienced issues in accessing recommendations and things like that from their doctors. But we've seen more and more daily come in and access these services for whether it's for their chronic pain or issues that they deal with on a daily basis. And it's really been helpful for them. Helps them get off some of the pharmaceutical medications that they're on, which has allowed them to live a better quality of life. So that's been great.
What's the range of illnesses that in a sense, bring people to your doors?
Well, we have an age range from all the way from pediatric to geriatric patients, and they have conditions from cancer, fibromyalgia, pain, a lot of chronic pain management conditions, migraine, cluster headaches, wasting syndromes, seizures. We have clients that are in group homes that this medicine has helped them be able to live more of an independent life or even spend some time with their families and things like that. There's a whole host of conditions that this works for, and we've been finding a lot of success. Our patients have had a drastic improvement in their quality of life.
If you can talk about pain management, because I know a lot of the early efforts dedicated towards legalization, particularly in the medical cannabis side, were focused on the cancer.
Sure.
The cancer issues, and of course those are hugely significant. But pain management seems like an area where you've got a lot of chronic opioid addiction issues, and you essentially are not just replacing an opioid for an opioid, as was the past treatment method. You guys have migrated way beyond that. Talk about that if you can a little.
Absolutely. So when patients first come to the center with a lot of chronic pain conditions, a lot of them are on pharmaceutical medicines, and one of their main goals is that it's either not working anymore for the chronic pain or that they know that it's deteriorating some of their other organs and they'd like an alternative option. So we work with them to bring them away from feeling the way they do or sleeping all day. So we believe in going low and slow and working individually, patient by patient. This helps alleviate. We work with different types of medicine at the center. So THC is more of a psychoactive effect. Sativas can give them energy, help them stop thinking about the pain for a while. Indicas can help them relax. We have CBD medicine that helps with inflammation and chronic pain management, spasms and things like that. So when a patient comes in the center, we have a variety of different medicine that they can use, from smokables to capsules, sublinguals that go under their tongue, a lot of different edible variations that's been working great. So when patients come in, what we do is, again, we start low and slow, and generally in the first week or two of treatment, they're able to come back on their pharmaceutical medicine